All right, my name is Anna Landmark, and I'm the Farm to Business Director at REAP Food Group. I'd like to thank our panelists today for joining us. We have Josh Perkins from the Madison Metropolitan School District, Sarah Thomaswitz, I apologize for if I mispronounced your last name, from the Oregon School District, and Michelle Dank from Mount Horeb. So we've got three schools from Dane County, all of whom have local purchasing programs in place. And they're here today to talk to us a little bit about what those programs look like, what their goals are for the school year, how they approach local purchasing, and what sort of products they're looking for, and how does that fit into the kitchen flow in their facilities. So I'd like to thank our panelists and also our participants, our Atlas farmers who are calling in today to listen to this. We are recording and we will be sharing this on social media to try to get in more hands, as well as putting this up on our website. So just a little bit of background. This is the second event that we're doing in a series of kind of networking and informational events around wholesale readiness and selling to institutions. So we're looking to kind of strengthen the pipeline of local farms who are getting their products into institutions and looking for ways to help them both connect with markets, but also potentially aggregate products. So along with these events that we're hosting, we are launching an online marketplace for farmers to sell directly to institutions. We've sent out invitations to this online marketplace to about 10 farms so far, and we'll be expanding that as we work through kinks. So the goal will be to have that online marketplace live around September 1st. We've got some corporate campuses as well as some other institutional buyers who will be looking at that website, hopefully to order products. So we'll be sharing more about that, but just kind of to let you guys all know, we'll have some additional events that we'll be setting up in this fall as well to talk more about kind of the infrastructure needs for local processing and getting local products into more schools and institutions, as well as helping coordinate maybe some joint efforts around a lot of the grant funding that's coming out right now for kind of systemic level infrastructure needs and things like that. So stay tuned for more of that. Allison will be giving a little bit of an intro right now as well. She's our Farm to School Director here at REAP Food Group.
Awesome, thanks, Anna. I'll keep things short, but just want to second Anna and saying thank you so much to our panels for joining, Sarah, Michelle, and Josh. They're all awesome and amazing food service directors here in southern Wisconsin. As Anna said, I work with our farm to school programs at REAP Food Group, and I've been doing this work for about 2 years now. And the way that I see, but REAP has been involved in farm to school programming for much longer of that. MMSD, Madison Metropolitan School District, has been a long-standing partner. There's been different efforts kind of before COVID and then figuring out what life looks like on this side of the pandemic, but has always been an awesome partner in working to move local foods into schools. I will echo what Anna was saying is one of the ways I see my role at REAP is thinking about these different grants that are coming out and how do we connect the farmers and producers with schools, and what can we do to help move that local food throughout the supply chain. So I'm here to listen, to help answer questions, and then take information that I hear from today and think, okay, how can we actually help to be support to everyone along this local food supply chain. With that, I will turn it back over to Anna.
Yeah. So I'm just going to ask each of our panelists a few questions. And Josh, if you would maybe give us start us off, just give us a quick introduction about you and, a little bit about your program and how long you've been with the Madison School District.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me. In a nutshell, I've been with the district just over a year. I hired in March 2022 in a different role, became the interim director over the summer, and then the permanent director as the school year started. My previous experience with the district was on a volunteer basis. I had a volunteer run farm to school snack group in a couple of schools in Madison when my kids were quite young, and I did some volunteer culinary teaching for REAP, actually under REAP's auspices. That goes back a ways. Then I disappeared into the corporate world for about 5 years, traveling all over the country, doing K-12 as a chef, and came back to Madison and was lucky enough to get the opportunity to be here. The program here, the enrollment in Madison is just over 25,000. We are serving between 8,500 and 9,000 meals a day, looking to substantially increase that. Kind of this last year was trying to thaw out from the pandemic. And what we did as far as local produce this last year, took two primary forms. One was working with seasonal harvest out of Brown County. We had very limited labor. We had a really pronounced need to be able to bring local produce in that required very little additional labor investment on our side. It worked out well. And then the other project was far more complex, and that was getting student grown. This was hyper local, getting student grown lettuce into the school meals. The volume is large, and so that was more of a celebratory one-off. Well worth it. More to come, but the program, absolutely, if it needs to be said, Madison is a hotbed, and always and has been for decades, of interest in local food, interest in high quality foods, or sometimes organic, sometimes not. And our mission now is to get the school food program to reflect that deep interest in the community, which I don't think has been the case. So that's where we are.
Thank you. Sarah, do you want to go next?
Sure. Again, thanks for having me here as well. So I work for the Oregon School District, which is just south of Madison. We have about 4,000 students, and we serve about 1,600 lunches and breakfast, well, combination breakfast and lunches per day. I've been with the Oregon School District for a little over 4 years. This will be my 5th school year, starting here very soon. And we've been very lucky the last about 6 years to be able to partner with the AmeriCorps program and have AmeriCorps members help us really start our farm to school program here. So they have helped us partner with some local farms and really make sure that our program is focused on bringing in local foods and also bringing in products that are unprocessed. So yeah, that's been very fun.
Great. And then Michelle.
Yes, I'm Michelle Dank. I'm with the Mount Horeb School District. I kind of have a play date going on here, so if I run, it's someone has a skin knee or something. We have 5 schools. We feed about 1,400 to 1,500 meals per day. I've been here for 14 years, and this community is very, very involved and also interested in local. I have bought from Lisa before. Good to see you. And then we've over the past few years have gotten a few different grants. We received the local food for school grant, and so started buying from the food hub last year. And then this school year we were just awarded the Healthy Meals Incentive Grant, and we're partnering with Chef Justin Johnson. So I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, just looking to just keep doing better and expand.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. So I'm just gonna go through a couple of questions, and then if anybody else has questions, please pop them into the chat for us, and then we'll also include those to our panelists. So Michelle, maybe we'll start with you again. So can you tell us a little bit more about kind of specific products that you are interested in purchasing, or what you have been currently purchasing, and kind of what sort of volumes are you looking for when you purchase these products?
Well, right now, I just kind of wing it because you never know what you're going to get or what's available. So based on what the food hub has, we've been purchasing lettuce. We in spring mix, we've been purchasing microgreens, which have been a huge hit and something, but that's all grant money, not something we could afford on our own. We have been doing a lot more local beef this year, and I need to call Lisa again. And that's all with our grant money too. We did find a beef producer that could deliver cooked beef crumbles, which has been a godsend with staffing and stuff like that. But I hope that with this partnership with Justin, we can improve our culinary skills and be able to make more things work. But other than that, we buy from Becker a lot, or Crossroads, carrots, cucumbers, whatever's in season that we can get.
Yeah.
We will pretty much take it.
And as far as like serving those, are those going into salad bars or are they being incorporated into meals in other ways?
Mostly salad bars.
Salad bars, okay. All right. I'm assuming that's because of staffing challenges, right? Or like, how much time it takes to develop meals and menu planning and also meeting the school, like the nutrition guidelines from USDA.
Correct. And we have a lot of staff that's been here a long time. I do buy them the tools to make things easier, but they would prefer to cut it with a paring knife. So again, I'm hoping that this chef partnership will help that and make them believe that what I'm saying is true, that they can save a lot of time. So, but yes, mostly, and I never know what I'm going to have day to day, and I'm sure no food service directors do. I have a lot of subs coming in and out, and I don't know what will happen that day. So,
right, yeah,
kind of just do what we can based on their abilities. But
yeah.
They got a significant pay raise this school year, which is great. And I'm just hoping that that can result in more training and more higher expectations. So,
yeah. Okay. Sarah, I'll maybe pose this next question to you. Before we started recording, I think you were saying that you just finished your menu planning for September. So from the point that you do that, when do you actually start ordering in products? Like, is that something that you're doing immediately, or what sort of lead time do you need from when you actually develop a menu to when you're ordering?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we typically order about a week before for our fresh items, I should state. For our fresh items, we order them about a week ahead of time for delivery the week of that we're going to use them, simply because shelf life is not as great for fresh items. And so, but planning wise, I plan a majority of the school menu for the entire year over the summer and kind of have things in place with some flexibility. But before the month starts, everything is set in stone. So if I know that a bumper crop is coming, it's great to know that a little bit further in advance. Otherwise, like Michelle was saying, that would go on a salad bar because it's not planned into the menu. And if it's something that we would like if it's butternut squash, for instance, if we were going to be able to order that, I would need to know more in advance because I probably would season it and maybe add some sugar. So trying to balance that within the menu needs a little bit more time than just kind of day of or a week before.
Yeah. Yeah. Josh, you have a much bigger school district. Do you have longer lead times, or are you kind of in the same cycle?
Very similar to what Sarah said. That's our goal for this year. Last year was much more of a scramble because of staffing, and we had to improvise some products week to week as well. But that is the goal, is to have a cycle menu that is well known, and to make changes. I think we probably approach it very similarly. You identify dogs on the menu, things you need to change, and then just say, but for the most part there, it's good. And as Sarah said, it's very perishable. That's another thing we need to set up. So when we get in pre-cuts, especially really letting the team know what the shelf life, exactly what it is. We did a bunch of service this year with simple, like Sarah mentioned, butternut squash. That's a great example. Root vegetables that we just seasoned and roasted and then served on side salads, things like this, which we distribute to all elementaries. What I'd love to be doing is adding the addition I'd love to make to that kind of structure is right now we seek things in the market as a reaction to a menu we already decided on.
Yeah.
I'd like to flip that. So we're saying, well, what is the volume and availability going to be when school opens? Then we draw the menu up in summer based around what we already know about that. We're not there yet.
Right.
That's the next move.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And, to have those kind of conversations, that's probably a year or two planning in advance, isn't it? So, maybe this next year we can have some of those conversations that would help you feed into 2024, 2025. So,
That would be great. And I think it's a little like a cycle menu. I mean, it's not that people can't grow different things, but I remember I worked for Willie Street Co-op for 9 years, and a lot of this kind of planning happened under the auspices of private sector grocery or cooperatively owned grocery. It's private sector. And you don't make radical changes year to year. I mean, the growing season in Wisconsin is shifting for better or for worse, but there are crops that really do well, varieties customers favor. That's going to be true of school kids as well.
right.
So
Yeah.
I would be in favor of a model that's kind of like everybody could align on what makes the most sense for a core program for basically the largest volume and most cost effective, because that's always going to be a pressure in K-12. It's a huge pressure usage. And then once it's established, probably just go back every year and say, let's do one or two new things, but we're not going to mess with a good working model.
Right. Okay. Well, my next question is about kitchen capabilities and how much processing you are able to do in-house versus how much you need to purchase that's pre-chopped or processed. And Michelle's talked a little bit about how she's using grant funding to maybe train her kitchen staff a little bit more. Sarah and Josh, do you want to talk to us a little bit about what your kitchens look like and how you approach versus buying processed versus raw? Josh, go ahead.
Sure. I'm hoping that my answer is going to be a product of temporary circumstances. We really had to be very judicious about bringing in anything that required processing on site this year. We have the equipment. It's happened in the past. This is absolutely, I think, a majority function of the fact that the pandemic broke everybody, and we're just starting to repair ourselves. So we have a Roboku CL60. If you know what that is, that's a big floor-mounted food dicer. It's there. I don't really have the staff to use it. So we absolutely prioritize pre-cuts this year that we could just season and roast, or which were in, for greens, triple washed. But I think as we recover staffing levels, I know that Allison and I have been in many conversations this year about expanding the possibilities for processing for districts who are in the same boat, because it sounds to me like a lot of districts still are. So we would like to look at putting those pieces of labor and equipment back into play. I don't see us making a push towards saying we only get in field fresh produce and we process it all. I think because of the volume in our district, we'll always be in a position of saying, let's pick and choose carefully. That's something that's really worth putting that time into, like the student grown greens. But if we have the convenience of pre-cuts, I'm sure we'll continue to use those in the next 5 years.
Yeah. Sarah, why don't you go next with that question?
Yeah, so I think we're in a very similar situation where, yes, we have the capacity some days to be able to process on our own, and it's both menu driven and what else it's paired against, as well as staffing. Is everybody here today? Because if we're running 1-2 people short in the kitchen, then getting in produce that has to be prepared is not as ideal as having something that is ready to be served. So hopefully we can start making that shift a little bit more. But right now, when I know that something needs a lot of preparation, I really have to make it so that the entrees that day are on the easier side to prepare, so that we actually have the time to work towards preparing those items.
All right. I apologize for this interruption, but we're having a little technical glitch and we need to switch to a different Zoom chat. I'm really sorry. If everybody would open up your chat, there is a link to a new Zoom meeting. And so I know Noah has his hand up here, is flagging us for that. So we're going to pause for a minute. And if you would all kind of click over and close this one out, for some reason, we're getting timed out. So apologize for this, and we'll see you hopefully back in a minute or two here.